Well, welcome again to another edition of Financial Friday. I'm Jim Tabor, and we're talking with Kfcu Federal Credit Union, one of their specialists here with us again, Anthony Abella, who is a community development officer with them. Last week we talked about debt management and how important it is to get your, all your things aligned and the difference between a debt avalanche and a debt snowball. And if you didn't catch that, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch that segment. And then today, we're going to be talking about creating healthy financial habits, like the importance of doing a budget. Anthony, good to see you again.
Good seeing you again.
Let's talk about some of the things you need to go through to start creating healthy financial habits. Now, I know you go to schools and talk to kids about getting these, because as they're growing up, they might not think about that. They're young, they're wild, they want to just go out and have fun, buy this, buy that. But it catches up with you after a while if you don't, kind of budget yourself depending on what you make. Why is it important to create a budget?
Well, for anyone that receives money, which hopefully it's all of us, a budget is needed so that we don't live paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people, whenever they're young, they have a part-time job. As soon as they get the paycheck, it goes to something fun and frivolous and whatever else. Well, of course, as we know, as we get older, we have bills, we have responsibilities we have to pay back and everything else. So we want
mortgage, car note,
everything that goes
insurance.
Yes, and with all those things that we have to pay for, we want to make sure that all the money that we get has a role to play within, our lives, which the budget's for.
Mm-hmm. So, what's a good starting point for creating a budget for yourself?
So, if you've never had a budget before, hopefully you are at a place that gives you bank statements. Look at the last 3 months of bank statements that you have. Look at what all you spent money on, whether it's your mortgage, your groceries, and everything else. Kind of do an average number of everything that you've spent on, gas and all that other stuff included. Once you have that kind of in mind, you might realize that, wow, I spend a lot for clothes, or I spend a lot for all these different things that we have to go through life to spend on. That'll kind of give you a ballpark on how to figure out what needs to be, the priority in your budget.
Yeah. Now, one of the great things I love about, and I'm a member of Kfcu Federal.
Okay.
Kfcu Federal has got one of the most phenomenal apps on their phone, for your phone, that you can download and keep up with, your budget and everything on a daily basis, what you're spending, what hits the bank and all that. So, and I look at mine every day.
Yes. So
I definitely do. And to go in there, and you can use that because I've decided to go paperless, but that way you can go in and write down, okay, this time of the month is my mortgage, this time is my insurance, this is my, well, thank goodness I don't have a car note anymore, but is my insurance and electric bill and all this year, and that way you can keep up with that and see exactly what you have.
Right, yeah, our app has that. A lot of other banks and credit unions have that as well. Even if you don't have a financial institution that has that information, just having a pen and paper out there. There's a lot of other things online, free resources you can print out to see a spreadsheet of what you're paying for. So even though we track it, you can track it yourself, especially if you do a lot of cash transactions. Those apps may not cover that. You have to manually put it in. Having that, if you do a lot of cash transactions, you can write in, okay, this is how much I paid for the babysitter or for, dog walker or whatever else that you might have paid in cash. Might be a good option if you don't have an app like you do.
What is the 50-30-20 rule?
So the 50-30-20 rule, once you figure out how many things you're paying for within a month, ideally, this is not just this is a guideline, but ideally, the 50-30-20 rule tells you need to have 50% going towards needs, 30% going towards wants, and then 20% going towards savings. So that's how you want to kind of break up your paycheck every week, every 2 weeks, however much you get paid. So the 50% is your needs. So you mentioned all the things that we need to pay for.
Right.
Which is the mortgages, your light bills, your phone bill, what have you. All that has to be paid, no matter what. We want to make sure that's paid for.
Or they cut them off.
Yeah, or they cut them off or something happens. So we want to make sure that's paid off, and that's the 50% there. The 30% is for wants. So of course, everyone, we don't want to just work for paying bills.
Yeah,
we want to have fun
with dinner and things like that.
So if you're going out for a nice dinner, or if you like to buy a lot of, nice clothes or into the latest tech, 30% of that should go to wants, because that's what you worked hard for it.
Sure.
So the only thing you want to make sure is that once you reach that budget of however much you spent for that month, you do not go over that. So if you have allocated one nice dinner a month, Don't do 2 because you know it's going to be way too much over your budget.
Excuse me, yes.
Yeah. And then the 20% goes towards savings. So that's retirement, any other vacation or emergency funds, and everything else goes into that 20% because you never know what's going to happen in the future. But you always want to kind of pay yourself first and put that 20% towards something that you have a future goal in mind with.
Yeah, which is something that I've always done because, you know, I like to take, you know, one good vacation a year.
Right.
And I have, you know, a little vacation fund that I always deposit some money into every pay period.
Right. And if you know, get paid every week, every 2 weeks or whatever else, that adds up. So
Sure.
you don't have to worry about, okay, I have a vacation in a month, how am I going to pay for it? Well, if you had a savings account separate from your checking account, that can go towards that, and that just accumulates interest as well, hopefully, with everything going on. That way you can actually have a nice little nest egg to go on a nice vacation.
So talk about the couple of options to track your own budget. You digitally, got a couple of minutes left, digitally or with paper. Right. I know you can get the, with Keesler Federal, you can get the paper, you get the statement every month. Right. Or you can get it, you know, on your phone or on your computer.
Yeah, so you touched on that earlier with our app. We do cover that. So anytime you swipe our card, it covers that for you. Some people just need that kind of second mind of, okay, what did I actually pay for? Some people are a little more meticulous. So we mentioned that spreadsheet with the paper and everything else that goes into, if you do a lot of cash transactions, that's another option you can do. Some people do a hybrid, depending on how they want to do this. This is all up to you and what your preference is. Some people are money nerds like myself that have a lot of different accounts in a lot of different places for different specific things, where some people, it's all in one bucket. It's all in their checking account with some in their savings, and they just use that. Whatever way works for you, as long as you can track everything that you have going on in your life, you won't have to stress over it as much as if you didn't know where that money went after spending it all over a weekend or on bills.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about Keesler Federal's app. I can go into the candy machine in here or whatever in the morning time and swipe my card, and within 5 minutes, bam, it's already showing on my digital statement.
Right. Yeah. So you don't have to track it yourself and write it down in your paper.
Exactly. So again, if you missed out on our debt management, you can go to our YouTube page and find out some more information on that, or if you miss out part of this, you can go on that as well. But if you have any questions, you can call your neighborhood Keesler Federal Credit Union and make an appointment and talk to them about, if you're not a member, about becoming a member, because it's a great financial institution. Thank you so much. It's good to see you.
Thank you,
Anthony Abella, Community Development Officer with the Keesler Federal Credit Union, and we'll be back again next week with another Financial Friday with Keesler Federal Credit Union and some more wonderful tips to help you with your finances.